Hey
Hi,
guys!
everyone.
Wow.
Uh, welcome to our first episode of. Wait, what's our show
Did you
again?
forget the title of the show?
Wow, Brian, you literally just said the title
you
just now,
just
right?
you just checked with me.
Blankslate presents small talk big ideas, where we want to chat with like different business owners and share experiences, learn from each other. And starting off with this episode, we're gonna talk about ourselves. Us
Yes.
being the co-founders of like Core Studios and Blankslate. So we have Ming Han, Ming Yue, and myself, Bryan.
Yay.
I think people don't even know most of the things what we do most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Maybe
guess
some of them are even hearing Core Studios for the first time. So
yeah. Maybe Ming Han, do you wanna let people know what you do as a company, as a creator, even the main thing?
I think so. Right now, the simplest way to put it is, as a team, we make content for people, right? But there's so many different parts to that that it's very oversimplified to say that yeah, we just make some content because we do the planning, we do the production side of it, we do the marketing side of it, and pretty much that's what life has been so far. It kind of started out of YouTube, but that is the simple way to put it. It's definitely not so simple right now. So yeah, that's what we do in a nutshell.
So I guess like for me, I first started doing this whole video thing on a freelance basis, and then I met Ming Han back in 2011, I think.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I first approached Ming Han to shoot a video, a short film, which is on the Ming Ting YouTube. It's called Alone Forever, I think. Yeah. And then we just did it for fun. And back then we also have Rafi alongside. He was our main DOP, which is the videographer, the person who shoots. And I'll be the one who also sometimes shoots, sometimes edits, and also produce at the same time. And then later on, Ming Yu came back from UK.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ming Yu came back from UK as Ming Han's brother and as a talent as well.
I don't think he went to UK as not my brother. He came back as my brother. Yeah. What year was that again? You came back?
I was there from 2010 to 2012. So I came in 2012, and then you guys were already like starting to make a lot more videos. So I jumped in, and then we did a lot more like comedy sketches. And then I feel like there was a time where we almost posted up a video a week, right? Back then, it was like almost every week there was a video, and then we will all be in the back room of the house editing the videos of you doing different things.
Not every week, every 2 weeks we would shoot for 1 week and then work on the video for the next week. That was
I remember that back then me and Rafi was like in Ming Han's back room or storeroom, something like that.
Like editing. Don't need to go home already.
Yeah, it was so late. We stayed up until like 11 or 12. There was one time also we were in Bangsar Shopping Center until like 1 o'clock at night.
Yeah, Starbucks. Outside Starbucks.
Yeah. I don't even know why, but it was like, so you don't want to come to Damansara, so let's just meet in between. And then we forgot that every place closes. So yeah, that was a long time ago. My goodness.
Yeah, I guess that whole making videos from home and everything led up to like us getting our first client job. I think it was it Celcom?
Telco was a telco, right?
Celcom. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it led to us getting our first client job, and then we didn't know what to do with the money. And
no, it was Hotlink.
Oh, Hotlink? Yeah.
Hotlink
I forgot whether it's Hotlink or Celcom. Yeah. Yeah. So at that point also, I think that's when we started the company, right? Core Studios.
Yeah. We made a choice, I think, because we were all quite shocked at the amount, and I think everyone back then also was like, at least we were very fortunate that none of us made any noise about like, hey, we want money, right? It was more of like, why don't we put the money somewhere and then we all take from it slowly. So that was like the general consensus at that time. And then we
and
realized
also,
that wow, that's a lot of money.
like because we don't really know like business stuff as well. We don't have like business management, how to run a company kind of background. So everything is just like trying to get by, learn as you go, ask others, learn from YouTube articles online, and I guess came down to this 2020, 7 years now, 7 years plus, 8 years.
8.
I guess
8 years.
I would personally say it's an achievement, given that we don't really have a background of a lot of things.
Every day is a surprise how we're still alive, to be honest. But yes, it is an achievement.
Yeah, so hence why this show, Small Talk, Big Ideas, it's also a platform, a gateway for us to allow us to learn from other business owners, people who, especially people who I really want to learn from, I really want to get insight from, and for them to learn from our industry as well. It could even be like F&B, manufacturing, any kind of people.
We've met very interesting people along the way, and many of them don't have the same product as us, meaning like, content creation, but they have succeeded in very unorthodox ways by themselves, right? And yeah, there's just so many things that we've never been able to involve them with until, well, ta-da!
How has your journey been, Ming Yue, ever since you joined us?
I think like when you guys started the video journey, even with like DMT back then, like you guys were finishing uni. And then like after uni, I remember like Ming Han always tells the story that how because he did psychology and technically he was supposed to do his master's so he can practice. But then because you guys were starting to build a momentum for videos and there was a demand at that time for content creation from these new like sort of like YouTubers or whatever, you, Ming Han and Rafi started to really consider, what if we make this a full-time a job. Which I think is something that we should definitely talk about later on, because I think some of the questions I've been asking, how do you transition from passion to a full-time business? And at that time for me, it was still fun and games because I still technically had to do my degree. And then like we started to, I guess, map out even then as well, like what would this look like as a career? And for me, having to still study and come out and do our videos and all that, it was fun, but it was also it made me realize, wow, actually, what are we studying, man? Which is something that, Bryan tell me so many times, just drop out, just buy your degree,
I'm pretty sure you were telling yourself that, not Bryan.
Oh, okay, yeah, probably me also. But there's something like you really struggle because I think maybe the education system in Malaysia is only, there's a lot of like feeding, but there's not a lot of doing. And I think a lot of experience when you come out and work in the I don't know, we've been blessed and I've been blessed to have experience working with brands and we're making and ideating stuff together. And then I go back and see like stuff I'm learning is like, what is this here? But then from then, I think I think most of us can agree that things started to make sense when we got our first office together in Empire Damansara. That was when we were like, oh, wow, now got like overheads already. Now it's like the money that's being paid out is not just to your own salary, but now there's overheads, there's equipment, investing into. I remember like when you bought the first iMac and then put it into the office. Wow, that felt like, oh my goodness, this is for reals, right? And then from there, that was 2013? 12 or 13, around there lah.
Around there.
Yeah, and then fast forward to where we are today is quite insane to think that something that was so hobby-like, so passion, interest, morphed into a company with now 20 odd people inside as well. Yeah.
It took a really long time for us to even decide to get the office though. Because I remember we kept telling like the office rental is like someone's extra salary. That was the topic of discussion. but we did it anyway.
I think
Yeah.
me and Rafi just came to your house like for like a year
Every
or
day.
two.
Yeah, almost every day.
Yeah.
Towards the second half of the day into the night.
So
Yeah.
like the public know you guys, both of you, as like Ming Han and Ming Yue from the Ming Thing. But I guess what people may not know is what you guys do in the company. Maybe you guys wanna talk about it, like even like Blankslate, things with Blankslate.
Yeah.
I think maybe you can go ahead. My role is like more quote unquote obvious. Yeah.
So in the I think my all three of us have had our roles shift a lot during the course of our journey with Core, from writing, producing, and then just like then we realized that all those are very like that's what we do. But because we technically we are still I don't know, we're still a startup, but when you're in a company and it's your own, you definitely have to wear multiple hats. So people like even Bryan, he does admin and finance and so, and he oversees a lot of things besides just operations and producing. For me, it was initially it was writing and developing business development, but then now it's I'm fully leading the Takeaway Table, which is our content platform, one of our brands as well, and also our digital marketing strategy team, which is the Blankslate Works agency. And so even so for Blankslate, what we do is, I guess essentially it's a creative agency. We strategize and we help brands execute their campaigns. And even if they have a 100% idea of what they're doing or a 0% idea, we come into a system with that. And so I think it was quite interesting to see how from just production, we managed to also realize that, okay, actually there is a lot of links to the creative field in general. And that's why we've morphed out into so many things besides just video production. And I think it's an ongoing thing for all of us. For me, myself, like, I think even in the team, my role has always shifted to things to more, I guess, helping to build and push even further structures that are already in place. So whatever Ming Han and Bryan has set as the base and foundation of that, I will come in and figure out what else can we do to push and improve upon the structure. And I think that's how we managed to diversify over this past few years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess some people may or may not know, but three of us have really different roles and different character, different personalities altogether. And we all function, I would say it's a good mix of things because we all kind of complement each other in terms of our strengths or weaknesses.
I don't take it for granted though. Like we all complement each other, but in a lot of teams, different personalities just don't work with each other also.
That's
so
true.
I think we do share some kind of similarity where I mean, if you work under working circumstances, maybe people are more hostile. But I think because we met first as friends and then it slowly became work, and I'm basically Ming Yue's my brother, I think it's a very different, dynamic we're fortunate to have. Yeah.
I guess it's also partially due to the values that we uphold, even to our team. Like we're always like taking care of the people first. Really. Everything over money, I guess. I mean, not to say money is not important, but it is what it is. That's on the Blankslate side. On the Core Studio side, for me personally, I'm the executive producer. I currently run the operations for the team, and then we have about like 10, 11, 12, around there, 11, 12 people full-time. And Ming Han is the creative director of the team, for Core Studios, the main thing, and so on and so forth. So I guess how Core Studios evolved is it started off from like making the main thing content, and then slowly we had random things like Hello TMT back then, or even something that we tried but never followed through. It's called Sandbox.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just saw the throwback the other day.
Yeah. So there were different experimental things that we've tried, and it now led to having the takeaway table, and now this whole new series, business talk series, it's still an experimental stage. Who knows? We don't even know whether people will watch this, but we're still gonna keep doing lah. Next one would be like throughout the past 7-8 years, what was the toughest period for you guys?
Oh, this
Like
is a question
individually.
for someone.
Yeah,
Like personal struggle.
Oof. If you wanna get there, man.
Oh, I had a really bad 2 relationships in the past 8 years. So in the first 8 years, sorry.
Let's keep
Oh,
it to
sorry,
like
business, right? Business, sorry.
context.
Okay, great. Business.
You want to go first?
I think because I'm probably the one that has to balance the most between how to run a business and at the same time discovering a skill that I didn't know I had, which was like writing and everything. It really felt like you were trying to study the art stream and science stream at the same time from the start. So like that was, I think, the biggest struggle the whole time, because in this industry, it's not just the business side and the creative side. Then you got to worry about the personality side, which came along with the job. And I feel like the tension that this builds within a person is very intense. I think that was like personally my biggest struggle, because we didn't really have to worry about quote unquote company for the first half of it, right? Because it was only like 6 of us. There was like really no big company worries. It was really more of a personal issue of like, okay, why am I doing this craft? How is there a bigger importance to building a business or building the craft? And then at the same time, I don't know about you guys, but this was very personal to me. I didn't want anything to like focus around the fact that we were getting famous, that kind of thing, right? Because I never wanted someone to like, I mean, it was always a personal challenge to like this video for the video itself, not because like, wow, got famous people inside, that kind of thing. I really didn't like that at that time. And I wanted to create, I guess, what you guys can call like quote unquote organic content. And that's why like, I think that has sort of become like our forte. I don't think we really rely on people, like if there are famous people or their personalities, it's most of the time because like a client has requested them to be put inside a piece of content. But I really do take pride in the fact that we put story first most of the time. That being said, that's after like 8 years of doing it. But man, the struggle for one, I think it's an ongoing struggle to always try and balance between the creative individual and the business individual. On a daily basis. That's for me, because both of these people want very different things, right? One wants consistency and KPIs, and the other one wants to like do craft and take your time, and it's just a very existential crisis struggle personally. Yeah.
Then how did you cope with like being a content creator on one side and being a business owner, having to juggle with the team operating like? Yeah.
I think at the time where it was just 6 of us, there wasn't really much to quote unquote cope, right? But I also feel like that's where you guys came in, because there was that time where you took the move to become the kind of like the company's producer as well. So there were like people taking care of different things. Like at one time we had Melissa, and one time we had people like you and Natalie. So it was a lot of role delegation, so that everyone could focus and specialize in a certain role they were doing. And I would only be needed to approve Maybank transactions and get TAC, which is still happening today. But I feel that there is definitely a strength into delegating roles so you can focus. But I don't think you can run from. I mean, if you have your own, team, I don't think you can run from making choices lah. So you have to have some kind of headspace for that. But most of the time, I'm just thankful for people lah, because if not, I don't think the team would be where it is today lah. Yeah. Ming Yue, what's your Ming Yue, yeah.
I think my struggle and toughest period kind of like, I mean, they're the same thing for me. So I think for me, it was trying to figure out like how to like when there's a need in terms of roles and operations, right? When there's a need that you see in a business and you have a decision whether you want to take charge over it, whether you want to be like, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna do it because number one, there's no one else to do it, or you know what, I could really shine in this role kind of thing. I think for the longest time, I hid behind the I just want to be a creative sort of role, and I just wanted to create like, oh, I'll make a new short film or story, you know, I'll write stuff. And to be honest, I mean, it's not that it's a bad thing. I think given enough time, I could probably you know develop a Avengers movie sort of thing with enough resources. But then I think one of the struggles for me was realizing that there is what you want to do, and then there's what you need to do. And I think in a business, when you are sort of like still, I guess, building the foundations of what you have and you have people to feed and everything, what took precedence for me was the shift of what I wanted to do versus what I needed to do. And I started to do things that I was very uncomfortable with, like, you know, selling stuff or just going out to meet people. Things that I never wanted to be a part of because I didn't like the idea of it, and I didn't like doing it in general. So imagine like if you didn't like doing menial tasks, right? Like for example, if no one's gonna wash the cups or wash the toilet in your office, then obviously you got to do it because it's your office, right? And so it was that sort of like need and want thing. And I think sometimes that was, I mean, and to be honest, I think that period of my life just kind of like deciding on bigger and bigger things that I never liked doing, and then I told myself, you know what, I have to do it anyway. That was a struggle for me because that meant taking responsibility a lot and putting my hands onto things that I never wanted to touch. And as entitled as that sounds, I think sometimes we are just generally like that in life, right? Sometimes we don't like numbers and we don't like finance stuff, and so we just push it aside to somebody else if that person is better. But I think there's also still a need to be aware and present in each of the, I guess, sectors in your business. And so for me, maybe the toughest period was just before that, just before coming to the realization that, yes, I need to do this. The toughest period was looking at the situation and not being happy with it, but also not knowing whether it's something you can control or whether you can't control. And I felt a lot of frustration with myself also. And I guess maybe that was the frustration that led me to the conversation of, can I do something about it? And so I think that's my struggle.
Do you think you've overcome your struggle?
I think it's an ongoing thing. I think certain things I still have to take the wheel in certain senses, but then I'm quite happy to say that yes, I've overcome a lot of the initial things I thought I wouldn't be able to do or couldn't be able to do. So yeah, I think that was a learning process in the past 3 years for me.
How about you, Bryan? What was your 1 to 8 year struggle?
I think for me, my main struggle would be having to learn everything from scratch. Like even before starting the company, I was doing videos, but even doing videos, I was learning from scratch, like through online on YouTube and so. But starting this company, running this company, I didn't go to business school. I didn't study like finance and so on. So having to juggle and learn out all these finance terms, like back then I didn't know what's OPEX, CAPEX, and so on and so forth. So all these things, knowledge in terms of like how to maintain the company's finance, cash flow, strategy for it, all these adult things. Yeah. These are all a constant learning, even until now. I wouldn't say like I'm very knowledgeable, but I'm okay to get by. Yeah.
I think people always have the perspective that, oh, you guys must be doing amazingly well. You guys are brilliant at what you do. But I think on the other side of the fence is always that we always feel like, I think we just know just enough to get by for this current time. And I feel that's where a lot of people misunderstand. We are really just getting by day, learning just enough to survive. So, yeah.
Another thing also, like, I feel for me personally, it's trying to stay passionate in terms of doing things creatively. For me personally, like back then, I like doing things creatively, like shooting, editing, creating stuff. But now I don't really do much of those anymore. So I'm not sure if it's the same for you guys in terms of staying passionate in what you do. Ming Han Ming Yue.
I think because the nature of our creative industry is on social media, it moves so fast that you don't really get a chance to. It sounds weird. It moves very fast. You don't really get a chance to grow properly as a creative because the speed of how fast you need to make something is insanely rapid. I think, yeah, definitely the past 2-3 years was like definitely me falling out of passion to make normal videos because I just felt that I needed a break from it and to try and make other things, and that's what we kind of did. Just that, not on TMT channel, and it was a real test because it's those kind of things where you're in so deep already, and we hit. I think we passed 500,000 subscribers and everything. And it was like, wow, do I want to keep the cloud up? Do I want to keep on grinding the numbers? Or does my sanity as a creative matter more to me? And I pushed at it, but I think when you do something like that, your creative brain like pushes back and it just rejects everything. And that's what people start calling, you fall out your passion. And after being able to look back at it, I think it's a very normal process because the creative brain grows like it doesn't grow like that straight flow chart, right? It grows like a very rapid exponential growth, and it kind of like plateaus, and then there needs to be a spike and it grows up again. And that's what I really learned about growth, that if you're passionate about something, you're definitely going to fall out of love with it for a while, but then we learned that to take that passion to the next level, a very big deal of discipline is involved. Even if that discipline isn't to make more stuff, the discipline is to try again tomorrow, right? And that's what I really learned. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure chefs also fall out of like passion to cook for some time, like every day look at the same thing, right? Like I was like watching Ugly Delicious, and Dave Chang is his job is cooking, but when he comes home, right, he can't be bothered. He just wants to cook trash, right? And I felt the same way for like 2 to 3 years because as the production team grew, so did how intense our production needs to be. And I just wanted to make like simple stuff when I came back and was on my own. But yeah, definitely, I don't think it's weird for anyone to fall out of passion with your passion, because you grow, you start the passion at the same time, but unlike what people think, you grow as one person and your passion also grows as a different entity, and you always need to like figure out how to stay up to date and continually connect with your passion. And sometimes it just doesn't work out, and then you got to find another way, But yeah, that's what I personally have experienced and this whole like 2 months of MCO has just given me that time to put it into words, finally. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Since you talked about like having to deal with that, like what was your general response towards people saying, "Oh, why no new videos?" or "I want more new videos," those kind of things?
Maybe because I'm super unaffected by things like that. I do know that there's an effect on it, but I think because number one for me, it's not that I don't appreciate our audience, right? It's just that I really feel that what is more important to me is the team. So when your brain goes into the I'm not in love with my passion stage, it goes into like survival mode. And for me, survival mode was, what can I do just to take care of my team first before I take care of the audience? So that's how I kind of approached it. And that's why, like, no matter how many people are like, hey, what happened to you? What happened to you? I feel the best part and the worst part about that is that the worst part is I can't give you guys an answer because I don't know what I'm going to be inspired about next. And then, but the best part is I think a lot of our TMT audience is just there, you know. Minus the fact that I don't know what the social algorithms are anymore, or if our content is getting to our audience the same way it was like 8 years ago. But there's always been a continual support instead of like, I'm giving up on you guys. It's always been like, no, take your time. It's okay. We'll all be here. We appreciate the quality of your stuff. And it's true. Like, people have really appreciated when we take our time to make something instead. So yeah, the worst and best thing, the double-edged sword to, I think, any business is, how far do you take your customers' comments? Because they are not the chef in the kitchen, right? And if you just did whatever they say, I don't think it's going to work either. That is the reason why you own the kitchen and not them. You got to take everything with like a proper ratio. Yeah.
I guess just to add on, like, on Ming Han's comment in terms of like survival mode and prioritizing the team first. Whenever, just to carry it out to the public, it's not that we don't want to make videos on the Ming thing, but on Core Studio's side, how we survive is we also create videos outside of the channel for brands, for clients, for other people to be placed on their pages instead. So hence why you always say like, oh, why got no new videos on the channel? Because we're busy creating videos for other people, and that's how we kind of keep our team alive, sustainable. How about you, Ming Yue? Like,
what was the question, sir?
Like, in terms of passionate and
like, we've never been the type to do trends, and we've never been the type to react to, if everyone's doing a certain viral trend, like, let's jump on that as well. I think because I'm not trying to say that we're better than it or above it, just that I don't find joy in it, and we don't find the aspect of entertainment or humor that I guess people do. And that's why for us, it's never been about reacting to virality. It's always been about what is something that no one has done yet, instead of let's make something that everyone likes. And so maybe for us, for me, I remember there was a time where we would write stuff and be like, what's this about? What are we trying to do? Where is this going? And a lot of times those videos that we shot don't even end up seeing the light of day, and nobody ever sees those videos as well. And then also, but maybe also then learning to balance that, like what Ming Han said, right, about the passion and wanting to create something that's original, organic, and fresh, but also still needing to sustain, whether it's your audience, whether it's the team, whether it's the business in the company. Like, that's something that you really take into consideration as a content creating company. And maybe even if, like, as we talk about this more, right, I realize that it's not a problem that people will face, because you are usually either one or the other. You're usually just I make something for a client or a brand, and I don't have to worry about it. As a production house, if we were purely a production house, there would be no problem with that. We just make for you and then we walk away and be happy at the end of the day. The problem is that we are as much of a production house as we are a brand of our own content. And the struggle really comes in, and I think maybe that's why we're all having this now, is because there is that desire to make both perfectly balanced. But I think that'll never happen, because we are playing both of that field at the same time. And whether or not we will ever find a solution in the future to have our production on par with our organic, creative, fresh content, I don't think any of us are striving to find that balance. I think we've accepted maybe over these 9 years that it's not something that is a necessity. That's why there's three of us, right? And that's why we have a team, because if we were trying to do all of that on our own, that'd be stupid. But really focusing on different aspects of the business and making, like, I think even right now, after we talk about roles, Bryan heading core and the production side, servicing clients, helping them to create a visual asset for their entire campaign, a flagship piece, right? And then I have Blankslate behind me, then we are creating campaigns to help craft a message for the end user. And then there's Ming Han, who's also handling the organic content. And all these three platforms work independently, but at the same time also together. The struggle is if you try to find a balance between all of this. But then if you flip it and frame it differently, that it's not a struggle because all three of this should not be perfectly balanced at the same time. And that's something maybe content creators like ourselves and Genie Boy and so I'm Jen, people like us have to maybe balance a bit more, because there's the I need to make money. Sometimes my content doesn't make money, but I still need to make content for my audience. And that's really just I think that's the equation that we have to play with.
Since you were the one who like kind of initiated and kickstarted the takeaway table, do you think that was like another avenue to keep things passionate, or was it like any other reasons?
I remember like back in 2018 in June, Instagram announced Instagram TV, IGTV, right? And they were like, okay, from now on, we're going to have another part of the platform that allows more than 1 minute videos. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, this is for real? Can we do this? And at that time, Ming Han was trying to figure out what else we could do with DMT, whether we wanted to focus more on short films or sketches or more lifestyle things. And I said, you know what, let's create something that is less production value, something that we can just plug and play, record, and then put it out there and be as real as possible. Because a lot of the stuff that we put up on the main thing, or even if you see us, like if you see Ming Han and myself being talents in other pieces of content, we're always playing characters but never ourselves. And so I figured a takeaway would be a new avenue, or I just wanted a new platform for us to be ourselves and react and speak about things as who we are as people. And from there, I guess the takeaway was born into the sort of we tried it on TMT first on the IGTV, and then it spun into takeaway. But then that was when I felt that there was a gap in the Malaysian, an Asian market for content beyond just short films and storytelling, because all of that is beautiful and it's great, but sometimes people just want to hear real life conversations. And I'll be honest, it's still a growing platform. I think it's still a growing genre. I don't think the region in general, or even Malaysia, the English market, we see a lot of American shows that have people sitting down as panelists talking about stuff. There's such a huge following of the podcast over there, and now the podcast scene is building up in Malaysia. But the variety of content that people can sit down and just talk about things and address things that people don't usually talk about and are harder to talk about inside videos, very few options. And I thought that, let's make the takeaway table that type of content. That after every piece of content that you see and we make, what we want you to go back with is a topic of conversation that you can have with your friends or family, anyone around you. So maybe that was like the heart of it is still there. We're also again going through a lot of changes because now we have like multiple shows under the umbrella itself, and we are also now subject to MCO and we can't shoot anything. So having a lot of meetings with the team has made us pivot direction, but I think the goal and the destination is always still the same for that kind of content. Yeah.
So do you guys think, like, both of you, do you guys think the business right now, or rather the platforms right now that we have, it's where it should be?
It should be. No.
I think the business has a life of its own. Like, we can't even predict where the platform will be. But I think that was where our another strength and weakness we have is, right? We know that for a fact that platforms always change, so you focus on your craft, right? Being that, like, I do think that we've got some kind of name for ourselves or reputation to say that, yeah, we can make good stories and content. But the flip side is I'm freaking horrible at social media. I can list like our friends in the Chinese scene, like Chloe, who has analytics and data, like do what, how, when, keep the momentum up. Then they know the algorithms and stuff, and we just don't know squat about that. But yeah, the business has so many elements of it that is like just so out of our control. It's never really where we thought it would be. To be honest, I didn't even think we'd have a company like this, when we started it. So yeah. Is this where you think you'd be, Bryan?
For me,
Ah,
I guess, of course, everyone who starts a company, every business owners would want their company to be as big, as successful as it could be, right? But I guess humans just being humans, that can never be enough. So as much as we want to achieve as much as we can, at this moment, I'm just grateful for the team that stood by us. Even the past employees that has left us, the past employees, the present employees, every single one of them has contributed to where Core Studios and Blankslate is now. And hopefully, I mean, given the changes that's due to come because of this MCO, we won't know where exactly it will hit us, it will bring us, but hopefully it will be a better pathway for us in the future. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I think what Bryan just kind of like mentioned is that's, I guess, that's the ethos and like that's the heart behind everything that we do with Core, right? Whether you see it through TMT, Core Takeaway, even Blankslate, like he mentioned at the start of it, like there's the decision to focus on the people instead of the profit has always been our way of running things. And as unprofitable as it is, which is true, I think there are a lot of ways to profit way more in our industry. I cannot like one of the points that we talked about, like what we could do is, one of the points that we had in our little notes was what kept us going. And I think for all three of us, aside from the passion, aside from the wanting to create content for ourselves or making a name in the industry, changing the world, it's really been the people. All our decisions have been around the people that have been running alongside us in whatever manner. And so I think moving forward as well, like I know for a fact that we will never stop caring about people and never stop prioritizing people. And I think to some people, to other business owners and to other business analysts, it might be a stupid way of running business because then we are like sort of thinking with our heart, not our head, right? But maybe that same weakness is also our strength. And I think what we have with the team in terms of the camaraderie, the commitment, the loyalty, the backing, right, is something that I wouldn't trade for any amount of money. Because I think that if you can have all sorts. I mean, maybe this is us, right? You can have as much money as you want to have, but if you walk into a office or a team or a company where you absolutely hate the guts of everyone else, then I feel like 5 times a week really is a shit way to spend your life, even if you're earning big bucks, because that's the majority of your life, man.
Topping up from that also, like I've heard different businesses struggle with their people, which is something interesting for me because like even during this MCO, they were struggling to have the workers like in align with their vision, their whatever they want to do. The way they treat people, it's literally like employees employer type of relationship rather than, I mean, as much as we want to call it like a family. Yeah. So I guess that's good and bad in both. Because I know some people would categorize like if you were to treat employees as employees, your work productivity will go higher. If you treat people as families, let's say your productivity will be affected or something, and your profit will go lower. So any brief opinion on that?
I agree. Maybe our struggle is finding the balance there.
Yeah, it is true. There's no denying that. So yeah, we are the best example.
I feel I mean, okay, but this is just me with the Blankslate team, right? Because the Blankslate team is technically a fresh team, and all fresh hires. There's been no like carryover employees. I'm the only one. and what I've experimented and seen with them is that empowerment is so important. Like we've been running. Some of these members have only been with us for like half a year, right? But the empowerment and how I see them take charge of work when you empower them and give them the confidence is incredible. I personally didn't believe and expect to see how much they've taken charge of things that are within their job scope and like above and beyond their job scope. And I know that there is a sticky sort of like situation when you are friends with somebody and then you tell them to do work and then you want to push them even further or you want to correct them, right? There's always that bit of like tension, like, oh yeah, we're friends, then will the friendship spoil after this? But this is just my opinion, but I feel like I've been able to have honest conversations with each of the Blankslate team members. And when there are moments where we falter, right? There's moments of like, oh, this could have been done better, or even myself personally, I could have communicated this better or delegated this even better than what I did. The transparency and the honesty of how we've been able to communicate and work has been one of the best things that I've seen with the team. And I know for a fact that there's like a percentage of people being utilized in terms of their capacity to work. And if people are in a company where they don't believe in the leadership and if they don't believe in the vision, even if they're running at a 30% capacity, they will never say anything about it. They will never let you know that I can do more, but I don't want to do more because I don't like you and I don't like what you're doing. So obviously, like there will never be a passing of ownership in terms of the work. But if you have people come in who work with you and there is an alignment in terms of your vision and your culture and stuff like that, right? The honesty and transparency thing really, really goes a long way, especially if you are able to be as honest as possible and be like, hey man, I know we are friends, but we're also working together. And whatever I say, whatever I do, right, remember that I love you as a friend, but there's work that needs to be done. And we're helping other businesses. So it's not about whether I like you or not. It's about things being done. And that conversation, as difficult as it was to have with some of them, has ended up being one of the most powerful assets to optimizing, I guess, the performance of the team. And if anyone who's listening to this has a similar sort of situation, whether you're working with friends or whether you're having like a startup when you're helping your cousin or something like that, set the foundations for being as blunt and truthful as you possibly can in the first few like operating months, right? Because then when hurdles come in the later months, if you're able to be like, hey, remember when we talked about being honest with each other? I need to do that with you now. That helps smoothen all the negotiations and I guess the work talk after that. So to me, that's been quite it's very nice to start. No, we're not too far away from course culture, but I think it's something that I've implemented very intentionally, telling them, right, you know what, guys, this is how we're going to do it. I want you to tell me this. I want you to come to me when you are struggling with anything. So there's a very good sort of balance in terms of the friendship, but there's also the respect in terms of being workmates. Yeah.
So previously I've posted an IG story where I asked you guys like, what are some questions that you guys have regarding our business, our platforms, us being content creators. Okay, question by Eric Lofsted.
Hey.
Top 3 lessons learned transitioning from creators to business owners.
It's not for everyone. We've seen a lot of people fail. We're just very fortunate to have each other. Yeah. That's one of my lessons.
Okay. Question from Setio. How do you balance finances for business and personal during difficult times?
Bryan?
Oh,
I mean, you just wrote the whole article on that for the team. So
yeah,
first of all, you just need to have your own savings first. That's very important. You need to know how to save a portion of your monthly salary. That's very important. And always have a backup plan. That's about it.
I think also to add to that, like making sacrifices. It's not anything to shout about, but I think the team knows also because we've been very honest with them that right now in this MCO period, all three of us directors of the company have opted to not have salary paid out just to help with the situation and cash flow of the company. So I think that answers it. But also, of course, what Bryan said, like if you have no savings, then I don't think you can do that.
Yeah.
Mm.
What are some mistakes you wish you could go back in time to change? Any of you?
Wow.
Any man.
From
Many.
Steffi,
Got
Claudia,
so
25.
many. There's so many. Definitely how we started structuring the team. Some random people that we should have or should not have worked with. I don't know, there's just a lot, and it's so many different elements when it comes to that, like from decisions that we made as a team or as an individual, work that we picked up or didn't pick up. I think if there was anything, I wish that I would have done so much more when when it was blowing up. But at that time, that personally, I was very scared of what was going on, so I didn't really, in a lack of a way to explain it, I did feel very hesitant to like go all out, because it was like no one expected what was happening at the time. So yeah, there was a very big anxiety. No, I won't say anxiety. There was a fear of the unknown, as in like what in the world is going on right now, and is this something that I really want upon my personal life? Yeah, but I wish I could change that. I wish like knowing what I know now. Yeah.
Okay.
You guys?
Question from Louisa Min. How do you know how much to charge a brand, and how do you know which brand to work with? Any of you?
How do we know how much to charge a brand? I guess that's why rate cards are great.
What was the starting point? How do you go about it?
How do you all start, man, with the first video?
Actually, wait. I remember reading something good. I just need to go and.
Yeah, I guess while waiting for Ming Han, for me personally, it's more of like charging something that you feel you're comfortable with and delivering the best work possible, and not worry of having like, oh, I charge too much, whether am I giving enough, those kind of things. Like just feel comfortable with the rate that you charge.
Yeah, there was the biggest thing that I learned about this, was you're never going to get it right. So no one has a proper rate until Malaysia has some sort of union, and we don't. So tough luck on that. But the best advice that I've ever heard from anyone regarding this is this guy called Chris Doe, and he said very easily one thing: if you are charging and too many people are saying yes before anything, you're probably charging too low. If you're charging and 7 out of 10 times you're not getting anything, you're probably charging too high. So that's like the best reference that I've used when it comes to like, hey, should we try and push our rate now, or should we try and push our rate now? But it's an ongoing thing because, as much as we would like to think that art is subjective to our value, because we will always value our art high, it really comes down to what you can agree and negotiate with your client about how both of you value the same thing. So the only way you can figure out your rate is by trial and error. Just go and try and do it. Yeah.
Question from Felicia Lau. What's the biggest takeaway powering through this season as a team? Mindy, you want to answer?
The power of freaking diversifying your business. I swear, seriously, as a production company, right? You cannot do anything. You cannot shoot. Because the nature of your work is going out to shoot, right? And your nature of work is to gather with more than 3 people at a time to shoot something as a production company. and that is impossible right now. And just we've been so blessed to have our other forms of content and even just like business, the Blankslate, and helping businesses in whatever capacity we can, right? That has been the biggest takeaway. That is so important to never be comfortable in what you think you are good at or what you think you're comfortable or already like, established, right? The minute you get into that sort of that, you know, feeling of okay, I don't need to move, I don't need to grow, I don't need to change or try anything. You did, man. Seriously, really, really like poke guy, you know, in all sense of the word. Yeah, that's been the biggest the biggest lesson, and also just to be nimble. I think you can never. I mean, it's not like everyone knew that COVID was about to hit, right? And I think businesses, if we knew, we would have changed a lot of things even before. But time and time again, you get to see Malaysian brands, so our local heroes, people like Burger Lab. I always use them as an example, right? Even McDonald's, bigger brands, so see how they adapt to the market. Of course, you're not going to get your initial volume of sales or revenue as you did before the MCO or this COVID period, right? But to be able to have the ability to adapt and be nimble about it, that is so important for a business today. Because if you can't, then again, okay.
Nugget is life asks, ever fought to the point where one of you wanted to leave? Tips to keep it together.
Fought?
Yeah. I mean, technically, we don't really fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we have disagreements. Definitely. But it's not until to the extent of fighting or
Yeah. If anyone left, it left with no warning at all. So there was no fight or anything. Rafi just decided one day that he didn't want to do this. So, but the thing is, it didn't happen with any bad intentions. It was just us trying to understand where he was in life. And I think even if any of us said anything about it, we respect. I mean, we still do. We respected Rafi's choice as a friend and person first, because I think he was going through he got married and so on and so forth. But there was definitely no fights and threatening to leave. But I'll be honest with you, if there's anything, like if you guys are going through that out there, it's the same advice for anyone in a relationship. If you can wager your relationship in an argument, it's probably not worth keeping. Just saying, if someone can threaten you, like if you don't do this, I'll break up with you. If you don't do this, I'll leave the company. It's something you might want to look into right away already. Yeah. Just saying.
Yeah, I think one thing I value amongst the three of us is really the trust we have for each other, as partners, as friends. Even with me, like fully trusting me with all this business and finance stuff, even though I don't study anything about it, never study up anything about it. It's the trust that got us where we are now, lah. And us being accountable for each other. Yeah.
I think the things where we make up in skill and experience is just a lot of trust to both succeed and to fail. And that's really, I think, what a lot of SMEs need to understand, instead of like blaming each other for the lack of experience and skill in a startup. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, if you guys do have questions, or if you know a business or would like to be a part of this in some way, just drop a comment, I guess.
Especially a suggestion or comment or even a message also, if you guys are a business or a brand that would like to tap into our services, whether it's video production to digital marketing and consulting. It's something that we definitely enjoy doing together with brands. So if you would like to get in touch, please just give us a message. It's perfect now, because everyone has the internet.
And feel free to ask anything as well. I think this is a space that we want to create for, I think, business owners in general to not feel alone, because we are all trying to get it right, and there's no right answer for everyone. So it doesn't really matter what industry you come from. If you are out there during this time where everyone is really just trying to figure out what the next step for anything is, you're not alone. We're all here. And since we have the time to actually sit down and talk right now, this is, the initiative to make the most out of it.
Yeah. So I guess just to wrap up, remember to subscribe, like, share.
Wherever the button is. Yeah.
Yeah. This video will be on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, possibly LinkedIn. I don't know. Who knows? This is the first episode, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much.
Thanks
for
everybody
watching,
for
guys.
watching. See you next time. All the best.
See ya.